Hello, children. Today, let us understand the lesson The Selfish Giant from the text It So Happened. This beautiful lesson is about a giant who was selfish but turns over a new leaf by a touching experience. The story teaches us that the best feeling of happiness is when you are happy because you have made somebody else happy. Now let us understand the lesson. There was once a giant who had a beautiful garden. He had gone to visit his friend, the ogre, for 7 years. When he returned home, he found that children used his garden as their playground. The giant was not happy to see the children in his garden. He became angry and he chased the children away. He then built a huge wall all around it and put up a notice board: Trespassers will be prosecuted. As the seasons passed and the time for spring to arrive came, the giant waited eagerly to watch his garden bloom with beautiful flowers. He waited and waited, but spring did not visit his garden. There was no sign of joy and greenery in the giant's garden. Flowers did not bloom, and birds did not sing. Days passed by, and the giant grew worried and sad. One morning, the giant heard some lovely music. He was so happy to hear it that he jumped out of his bed. He believed that spring had visited his garden. He looked out of his window and saw a wonderful sight. Through a little hole in the wall, the children had crept in. They were sitting in the branches of the trees. To celebrate the return of the children, the trees had covered themselves with birds and blossoms. The giant was happy to see this lovely scene. He then noticed that only in one corner of his garden it was still winter. A small boy stood there. He was so small that he could not reach up to the branches of the tree. The giant's heart melted. He realized that he had been selfish. He then walked towards the corner of his garden to put the boy on the tree. When the children saw the giant, they were so frightened that they ran away. But the little boy did not run, as his eyes were full of tears that he did not notice the giant. When the children noticed that the giant was good to the little boy and was not wicked any longer, they came running back. The giant knocked down the wall of his garden. All day long, the children played in the giant's garden. Days went by. The children kept going to the giant's garden to play. But the giant was unhappy. He longed to see the child who he had put on the tree. He inquired about the little boy, but none of the children knew his whereabouts. Years went by, and the giant grew old and feeble. One winter morning, when the giant looked out of his window, he saw that in the farthest corner of the garden a tree was covered with white flowers, and underneath it stood the little boy he had loved. The giant was filled with joy, and he ran out into the garden. However, he felt angry to see prints of two nails in the palms of the child and the prints of two nails on the little feet. The giant asked the little boy who had wounded him, and he swore to kill that person. The child replied that those were the wounds of love. The lesson ends with the child telling the giant that long ago the giant had allowed him to play in his garden, and so on that day he would take him to his garden, which is paradise. That afternoon, when the children visited the giant's garden, they found him lying dead. under the tree, all covered with white blossoms. Thank you for watching this video. Like, share, subscribe and comment for suggestions.